Hello, welcome back. I am Joy Leng from She Network. She Network is a nurturing community of women supporting one another to discover our strengths as our superpowers to unlock happiness, success, and make a positive impact in every area of our life. We are a safe space for she's in using their innate strengths to empower others and themselves while living engaging and flourishing lives. Did you know that breast cancer affects an estimated figure of more than 1 million women in the world each year? And it is the second leading cause of cancer deaths among women worldwide. And did you know that the 1 million afflicted women, almost 45% of these women live in developing countries? October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and we at She Network would like to show our support for the amazing work that is done at Breast Cancer Foundation by raising funds to help their work reach out to more cancer patients in an impactful way. So please support our efforts for Breast Cancer Foundation by donating at giving.sg/campaign/She Network BCF. Today, I have with me an amazing woman who accepts and thrives despite the challenges that life has thrown her way. And this phenomenal she is none other than Grace Chay. She was diagnosed with stage 2 of breast cancer, which was later re-diagnosed as triple positive after her surgery, and it has spread to her lymph node. She went through reconstruction and multiple rounds of treatment. And today, she is back to being a happy full-time mom, tending to her two precious daughters. Grace says develop a positive mindset. It can be learned, and if practiced often enough, it becomes easier. And when it becomes too hard and overwhelming, do not be afraid to seek help. Know that you are not alone. So please help me to welcome our very special guest, Grace. Welcome, Grace.
Hi. Hi, Joy. Thanks for having me.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for saying yes, for agreeing to be interviewed for your breast cancer journey. I understand this is your very first interview.
It's very first.
And I love how you are perfectly dressed for the occasion. You're all pink, girl in pink for She Network. Thank you so much. So we're going to dive into a topic that's pretty heavy. So let's start with a fun fact first. Now, Grace, I'm going to test you now. Give me a fun fact about yourself, like something that most people actually doesn't know about it.
Most people don't know that in my younger days, I used to act in growing up. Certain generations will know this show.
Oh, you used to be an actress?
Part-time, I did it for fun. I was young.
Wow.
Bit part of that appeared in a few episodes. So yeah, that was something most people don't know.
Wow, that's an interesting fact indeed. Growing up, is it Moses Lim show?
No, it was set in the 60s and 70s with Irene Gunn.
Oh. Wow, I'm talking to an actress as well. Okay, wow, that's very interesting. That is a fun fact indeed. Thank you, Grace, for sharing. Okay, so now we're going to go straight into your journey. So can you tell us more about your breast cancer journey?
Okay, so I was diagnosed last year, February 2019, and actually it was something that I had already felt for quite a few months the year before. But I think we just get caught up with life, and then you felt that something is wrong, you just keep pushing it. So I had a lot of excuses to push off going for a proper check. So it was, Christmas is coming, wait till Christmas is over. The New Year is coming, wait till New Year is over. My eldest is going primary 1, wait till that is settled. Oh, Chinese New Year is coming, wait till after Chinese New Year. So I waited till after Chinese New Year to get a check.
Mm.
And finally, when I got a check, then it was confirmed. And the first few days, first day, the first few weeks, I was devastated lah.
Mm. And can you describe what was it that you felt in your breast? What felt wrong? What felt not right?
Okay, so my left breast had always felt more dense, and during before my periods come, it would, breast ache, right? So
Yes.
I always brush it off as, oh, it's because of PMS, it's coming, that's why it hurts. And at one point it hurt for quite long, and yet I
Mm.
ignored it. I just keep putting it as, it's PMS, it's nothing, it's nothing. I really never thought that I would be touched by cancer. um Previous to this, I had always thought that I'm invincible.
Mm.
I hardly fell sick. But for that year, 2018, I recorded the number of fevers I had, and I had more fevers than I ever had before. So all these were telltale signs that I really ignored and brushed it aside.
Mm.
So my advice to people is, don't ignore your health. You may seem paranoid, but sometimes it's all these small little signs that we have to do a check on.
Mm. When you said that I felt invisible, and also your comment about like I didn't think that it never occurred to me that I was going to be touched by cancer. I think that's pretty much most of us are guilty of that, right? We think we're invincible. We think that everything will just go as per normal according to my plan,
Yeah.
and cancer and all those like unfortunate things happen to other people. It won't happen to me, right? And we're always like looking over, but we are all vulnerable to sickness, disorder, and cancers. But it just never occurred to us to listen to our body, to have enough stop time in our life to notice, hey, why is this hurting? Right? We're just like, my to-do list is so long. Let's just think about it tomorrow, next week, next year. After filling the blank, then after filling the blank, right? Then, and we're just not in the moment with ourselves, we're present.
Yep. Yep.
So when you, so tell us more about the diagnosis. What happened, and uh, give us more details about what the doctor say.
Okay, so it was quite a funny thing also, because I didn't know the right channels to go to. I only
Mm,
knew that I could go to a polyclinic
mm,
to get a mammogram, but that would be like a routine check. So actually, it stated that if you have a, a palpable lump, that means a lump that is obvious, um, that shouldn't be the way. But because I didn't know how, right? I just
mm,
made an appointment, went there, and the lady who was doing the mammogram, she did one side, and then when she did the other side, she refused to do it because I guess they have a certain protocol to,
mm,
and she said, oh, I have to cancel your mammogram, and then this is what you have to do. So I looked for I saw the GP at the polyclinic, and then the GP would refer me to the hospital's breast clinic. You can choose which hospital you want to go to. And then that's where it all happened very quickly already. When I went to the hospital, within the day, I got checked, ultrasound and all that, and it was confirmed that I had about a 5 cm mass, a tumor in my left breast, and it had actually spread to the lymph node. And then we did the biopsy, and then it was a ER, which is estrogen, and HER2 positive, because basically there's 3 receptors, and I'm 2 positive of it. HER2 is more aggressive kind of a cancer. So when I heard about it and the doctor explained to me, I was very worried. But yeah, the first night it was difficult because I went home, I couldn't sleep, I was crying my eyes out, all these. And having two young children, I guess it just keeps flashing to me. What will they do without me
Mm.
around? It was difficult. The first night especially, and then subsequently the first few weeks was also difficult. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, that must be very challenging because in one single moment, your whole life has changed. And in that moment, it has not changed for the better, right? Everything seems to be going downhill and downhill fast, right? They're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's something that we never prepare ourselves for. You get cancer and you know that you got to go through chemo. I never in the past think about, I guess nobody would think about how you would be going through chemo, what are the arrangements you have to make, what to expect. It just, that moment just never came. I just cry and cry and cry. I don't even know what to think of it. I
Yeah.
just felt that am I going to die?
Yeah, the disaster might comes in and then you're overwhelmed and you're also at a loss what to do. And you're like, where do I even begin?
Yeah, it was difficult. Yeah, but I have to say that once once I had confirmed going for chemo, when my chemo would start, my mindset sort of changed, and it was in a fighter mode.
Nice, nice. So I know that chemo was not easy for you either. You had many reactions to it. Can you share with us about the challenges for you when it came
Yeah.
to chemo?
So usually when I tell people about the reactions I had, I want to warn them first that it's rare. Not everyone goes through this. I don't want to scare anyone who's going to start chemo. But for me, I was allergic to the chemo Taxols. So all the Taxols I was allergic to. So what happens is on the very first dose of my chemo, 15 minutes into the infusion of the medicine, I had a reaction. So the reaction was that my airways closed up. I felt choking and I couldn't breathe basically. And I just felt that I was gonna die. I was watching everyone going about, but I was like, I couldn't breathe. And my dad, who had accompanied me on that first occasion, he was sitting a bit further away, so he wasn't watching my face, and I was there like gasping for air. And then I realized I have to press the button as the nurse told me to. So I pressed the button, and you have all these nurses rushing to me and all that. So it just felt like, wow, this is an emergency. I could have died. And it was so scary because yeah, I just never experienced anything like that. They say like peanut allergy is something like that, where you choke and you can't.
Oh,
So that was how I felt. And after that first time, I cried very hard because I've never experienced anything like that before. I thought I would have died. And subsequent to that, almost all my infusions for that particular drug, there was that same reaction. I would
wow.
gasp for air, I couldn't breathe, and then my face would flush. Then you get all these nurses and doctors rushing to me. So, but after the first time, second time, I got so used to it.
So used to your airway being blocked, seriously.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
scary anymore. It was like, okay, I'm having that reaction again. I know what to do, but I want to carry on because, like I said, when I was in chemo, I was in a fighter mode. So I just wanted to carry on with chemo, kill this cancer, and try to get on with it. So when there's this reaction, there is a pause in chemo, and sometimes they discuss about stopping and not having it that day. And I was like, no, 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 no. We can continue this. Just let me rest.
Wow.
Let's do it.
Wow. So it it's like attitude is everything, isn't it? It's not even about the medicine and the treatment. First and foremost, it's having the right attitude to make it possible, right? To have that resilient spirit that you clearly demonstrated. It was a mindset thing that really helped you.
Yeah, I was really in the fighter mode, ready to kill the
Mm.
cancer.
So tell us about that two time that was really scary for you. The one with that fever and the
Uh,
last one, yeah.
so neutropenic fever is actually quite common with anyone going through chemo, because you always have to watch out for fevers. The nurses will tell you, go home if you have a fever of 38. Be sure to call the clinic or go A&E. So that was what happened. My first time having the fever, I was also a bit paranoid, like every day measuring my temperature. And that time when I had the fever, I went to the A&E and they told me I had to be admitted. Um, it, I mean, everything on hindsight, it's not a big deal lah. So I just got admitted, and then they observed me, and then whatever medication that was necessary was administered so that the fever goes off lah. So I stayed in for about, I think, 3 days. I,
Oh.
I can't remember. So stayed in for a while. Fever was gone, and that was a good lesson in what I should do when if I do have a fever again. So after
Mm.
that time, there were still fevers subsequently uh, uh, for other infusions, and I just look after myself lor.
Lovely. Yeah, sounds like you're also a very fast learner. Like, I know what to do already.
Yeah,
Even
I
with the airway block, it's okay. I know what to do. It's just amazing attitude that you have. I'm
didn't want to
loving
stay in
it.
the hospital again. So I was like, never mind. I stay home. I observe my fever. I don't go out, and I drink more water, take barley and all that. And yeah lah, it was something brave I had to do, because I just don't want to stay in the hospital again. Then
Yeah,
the
indeed. You're
yeah
really, really brave. So, what was most challenging for you?
challenging through the whole journey.
Mm.
Through the whole journey of this cancer, well, I would have to say my emotions. It was my biggest worry, and also to me, it would have been a challenge lah. Because prior to cancer, when I was pregnant, I had prenatal and then postnatal depression. It was quite bad. I was really, like prenatal. I even thought of, I don't want this pregnancy anymore. I
Mm.
cannot take it anymore. It was the onset of the depression was probably also due to the physical aspect. I had very bad morning sickness,
Mm.
so it kind of affected the mood as well. So then after giving birth, also a lot of there's changes in the family and all that, and I stay with my in-laws, so there were a lot of conflicts as well, and my emotions were very difficult to control.
Mm.
So postnatal depression, so I had to see a psychiatrist and then a psychologist over it. And because when I was diagnosed with cancer and seeing how it had affected me in the beginning, I was very afraid that depression would set in,
Mm.
because I didn't want to go through feeling so lousy during a treatment where I should be fighting for it. So I try to find all the avenues I can to seek out help,
Mm.
or when I really need help, who can I see um, if I'm feeling down, or
Mm.
feeling depressed. So the hospital, they have counselors or even a psychologist ready, that I could make appointments with. So someone professional would be good, because they are trained. When
Mm.
they are listening to you, they are trained how they can help you. It may not be very direct help, but at least I felt a release when I open up to someone trained and pour out all my problems, emotions, issues. I pour it out to her, and then I felt better, lor. Even though she didn't so-called render direct help to me, but just her being trained to listen and receive what I was telling her, I already felt better. The other avenue was to seek out like-minded people, people who were going through, who went through or going through breast cancer and chemo, because all these people would best understand what I was going to go through or going through, and it really helped a lot. Yeah, I would say having friends. We had chemo buddies because we were going through chemo at the same time, so we could like exchange notes. Like, do you feel this way? Yeah, I felt that way too. You know, oh, it's so horrible. Then we can complain about it, and then oh, I saw my oncologist and she said to do this, this, this. You know, we share notes, and it felt good and very empowering to have a group of ladies who can understand, truly understand the feelings that we're going through, because not everyone will understand lah. So
Indeed. Like self-compassion consists an element of common humanity. When you realize that, oh, I'm not alone in this journey. There's many other people in the same boat as me. Then suddenly you don't feel so isolated. And not feeling isolated is powerful, because that's when you feel more hopeful, optimistic. You don't feel like, I'm alone. So I'm really glad that you had like-minded buddies. And I also know that you did something that was very powerful. You allowed your emotions when they occur, even when they were stressful ones. You did not suppress your emotions, and you even when your kids tell us about your kids, how sometimes they actually affect your emotions during that period.
So with my kids, because they are quite young, last year, so they were 4 and 7. One was in primary school, primary 1. So I still had to manage them. I had a bit of help, but I still had to manage them whenever I'm at home lah. So because I'm a stay-at-home mom, right? So and they can get quite, 2 girls, so they can get, noisy, they quarrel, they fight, or sometimes they just talk a whole damn lot, and then you're like, oh my god, I cannot stand it anymore.
I'm guilty. When I'm young, me and my sister can't stop talking. My grandma is like flew into a rage. Like, why so many things to talk about 24/7? Still not done with talking. What you're talking about?
Yeah,
So,
2 girls
guilty.
together, always like that, huh? So yeah, I there were times that I flew into a rage because also because chemo chemically rearranges our body chemically. So I was very susceptible to strong emotions, and I couldn't control it because chemically wrong already. So I couldn't control my emotions. So I flew into a lot of rages actually. And I mean, I was conscious and aware that I shouldn't, for the kids' sake, I shouldn't. But I also couldn't hold back a lot. So I had to explain to my kids what I'm going through, and I was truly apologetic to them for being this way. And actually, I mean, I was seeking my kids' forgiveness lah, that
Mm.
is not normal or perfect, or find it difficult now. So hopefully things will improve later. But then yes, I couldn't hold back on sadness. I could cry, and then rage. Yeah, so it was hard to hold back, and I I didn't I allow myself to feel it lah. I mean, a little bit guilty, but I also understand that it's just part of it, and I will get better lah.
Mm. I think releasing your emotions is important, not suppressing it. Suppressing it, that's when it gets stuck in the body, and that's the last thing you need. And crying has been known to be very therapeutic, very healing as well. So I'm glad that you cry where you needed. That was a good immediate therapy that you can apply it for yourself. And I think that your positive mindset also played a huge factor, right? Like, so I think you did all the right things, seeking help, reaching out to other people, having that positive mindset, allowing yourself to cry, express your emotions. So I think seeing professional help, counselor, so that you can offload whatever that's on your mind. I think you instinctively did all the right things for yourself, and you were such an excellent mother for yourself. So I really want to commend you for it. I'm a therapist myself, and I can tell you, you made all the right moves, and it was all instinctive for you. So well done, Grace. Amazing, amazing.
Yeah, thanks. It was really emotional. The emotional aspect was my biggest concern, so I really
Mm.
thought it out as well as I could lah.
Yes, clearly you did very well, well enough to have this interview with us to share your experience. So great job. I'm curious what you have learned about yourself because of this journey.
Okay, I always thought that I was already resilient, but this going through this made me realize that um, not just the emotional part, but also the physical part. Uh, because chemo just puts your body through a lot of through hell lah. The fatigue and all that.
Mm.
It was just so difficult, and it was something that I never thought too hard about. But after it's over, I realized that, oh, I can actually, not that I want to go through it again, but knowing that I did go through it, um, I'm not so scared. If it, touch wood, ever happens again and I need it, I know that I can just go for it. Because I know that there are some who, uh, when chemo is mentioned, they are already afraid and they don't want to go through it. And then for maybe some, they went through it and they didn't like it, and they just, wouldn't want to go through it again. But for me, I think if it's necessary, I'll just go through it again. Nothing to be scared of.
Wow, Grace, you have this amazing open mind, and that's really very powerful. So, what other strengths did you develop as a result of this journey?
Mm, I think, wow, strength. Maybe understanding people more, and also having a stronger mindset. And then there's a lot of negativity around, especially when you go through something like this. You will always have some kind of negative thought at the back of your head. What if? What if? I think it's I learned how to filter it out. If it's negativity from external sources, I learned how to filter it out, uh, and how to manage it. And then if it's within myself, I know how to at least um, overcome it. It's hard to describe because
Mm.
it's something within, um,
Mm.
but I think the main thing is to develop that positive mindset. It's so difficult, sometimes
Mm.
it's not something innate for me, um, to be ultra positive and hyper. Um, so it was a challenge, and it was something that I developed stronger
Mm.
mindset.
I think it's very hopeful for me, someone who teaches positive psychology techniques, to hear someone like you say, oh, it's not easy and or natural for me. I have to very deliberately, consciously do it. It's very hopeful because there are people who feel that way, that I can't do this. I'm not optimistic by nature and so on. But these are actual very learnable skills that you can just slowly teach yourself, just conscious attention and practicing it. So this is you're really giving hope to the people out there who perceive themselves a certain way and think that I can't do this or learn those skills. So this is really powerful. And I want to ask you a very interesting question. How would you scale your happiness before what happened, during your recovery, and after the aftermath? So on a scale of 1 to 10, where would you rate your happiness? What number would that be, and why is that?
Okay. Before everything, I guess I was maybe 7 to 8, 7.5. I was somewhat happy, but then there are always the what ifs. Like I said, it's not innate for me to be very positive kind.
Mm,
There are always nagging negativity in my head, and certain situations that I'm in, uh, external, there's a lot of external negativity as well. So I would say yes, 7.5 before. Um, Happy because I had my two little girls.
mm,
Not that happy because of the situations I was in. Then during the whole ordeal treatment, I would say about 5 or 6. There was still some, I mean, it's difficult lah, but there was still some happiness. In fact, I should re-rate higher, you know why? Because I my dad was by my side a lot when I went through the treatments, and it was something that I never see before. My dad's love for me.
nice.
Yeah.
I love how, like, even chatting about it, giving you this opportunity to reflect back, to even reflect back on the numbers that you have shared with me before this conversation. Hey, actually, maybe it should be higher. I think that's the power of reflection, giving yourself that space, right, to think about it. Are you sure it's that bad? Sometimes things are not that bad. There is still silver linings, right, even in a challenging time.
Yes. So I guess during, yeah, I saw a lot of love from my own family and even some friends. Um,
Mm,
there was a lot of uh, show of their love, and I was truly grateful lah.
mm.
But after, uh, like now, it would be about 9. I dare not say 10. I know that I have to admit there's still, I'm not perfect. There are still things that I um, are unhappy about, but 9. My happiness level is 9. I'm happy to be alive. Happy that I went through it already and everything is over. That I've got my health back and I don't feel so shitty already.
Mm. It's interesting to note everybody's skill for after is always higher than even the before. I mean, it's higher than the during, which is understandable, but it's always higher than the before. So it's like people are actually happier after their breast cancer journey. So that is very fascinating, but I'm not surprised because I've seen the same traits in all the other resilience people that I've interviewed in my tough conversation on Resilient Wednesday. Everyone is way happier where they are because of the ordeal that they have experienced, regardless of where they come from, what kind of ordeal they experience. It's always the same outcome. Happier now than before the crisis. So pretty amazing. So what because of this journey, what has become a gift for you? What has been what has empowered you as a result of what you have experienced?
Oh, what has empowered me? Um, I guess knowing that I'm not alone in this journey, and also that my body is able to overcome all these physical aspects of treatment. Um, and it was something that I told my kids before I started treatment, and I know that chemo was going to be very hard on me. So I told them that I am going to be like a caterpillar, and I'm going to be changing into a cocoon. During chemo, I'll be, not quite there, and maybe very ugly. But mommy will change. Yeah, and mommy will change into a butterfly at the end of it. So don't worry. And then hopefully that will make them be brave, going through, seeing me go through it. And then the most empowering is probably that I beat cancer.
Yay! I love this analogy. So cute, so beautiful. This analogy that you gave to your children to help them to understand what's going on here, and to let them also have that reality check, right? The expectation. Okay, so mommy's not going to be that beautiful, that maybe sometimes might even fly into a rage when she's that cocoon, but ultimately mom is going to be a butterfly, and this is what you can do too. I think it's so beautiful. Like you took every opportunity, including this very challenging breast cancer journey, to teach, to show your daughters how to live life and how to thrive despite of what's going on. So Grace, I have a lot of admiration for you. That's amazing that you do. Like despite what's going on in your body and struggling with your mental negativity, you still have that idea of like teaching your kids through beautiful examples like that. It's really powerful.
Thank you. That's just a part of motherhood. We have to constantly teach. It's not like I could go away for chemo and disappear from their lives for a while. I have to be constantly around them. So I had to teach them how to go through this with me.
Mm. Mm. So what is your advice for she's on being a strong and happy woman?
Um, how to be strong and happy? Yeah. Definitely to develop a positive mindset. I think you've mentioned in the beginning before, what I think is that positive mindset does not come easy for everyone, um, but it's something that we can learn. And also, if we practice it often enough, then it will become easier to develop, to have that positive mindset. It's tough lah, because if you're a person who keeps ruminating in the negativity,
Yes.
right, it's really it's hard to brush it off. But we have to learn to do it for our own sake. Yeah. So one way, if it's too hard, is to seek help. Sometimes it can get very overwhelming. So I want to tell people not to be afraid to seek help, because sometimes people are a bit, see a counselor, see someone else about
Mm.
it. What can they do to help me? Um, there are counselors and all that, doctors even, who are trained and they know how to advise. They may not be going through the exact same thing as you, but at least on the mindset wise, they can guide you on how you can improve the thinking, the positive thinking. And also to know that we are not alone in any journey of ours. Um, there are a lot of cancer survivors. There are people who were going through cancer at the same time as me. Motherhood is also sometimes a difficult path. There are a lot of mothers in similar situations. Then you can try to reach out um,
Mm.
to people who could relate to your situation. So don't think that you are alone lah. And
Mm.
then, of course, negative thoughts. well, we have to understand that negative thoughts and emotions are part of our life. We just have to learn how to overcome it. I think that's the biggest challenge. And then if we are able to successfully do it, then that's our biggest reward in our life lah.
Indeed, I think challenging thoughts not easy, but it's a learnable skills, and we have uplifting emotions, we have stressful emotions, part and parcel of life. Right? Like you can't experience love and gratitude if you cannot experience the other side of the spectrum, right? So sometimes we have to spend some short time at the other end, and it is part of life. That's what makes life colorful and interesting, right? So thank you so much, Grace, for coming on the show. I really applaud your courage. It's very uplifting for me to hear how you have gone through what you have been through, and it's almost unthinkable to me that for all the treatments that you have to go through, and then you're also battling your own negative thoughts at the same time. You have two screaming daughters that you have to tend to, even during the period of treatment. How did you do it? I have no clue, but I have like the deepest admiration for you. And look at you now, you're like chirpy. I would not have a clue that you are not naturally bubbly and optimistic, because you come across that way to me, but it's something that you've trained yourself to do. That is so hopeful for me to, as a positive psychology trainer, to continue moving forward, because you're such a beautiful specimen of, let's see, it's possible. She learned it. It's not natural, but now it's a part of who she is. So thank you so much. It has been really wonderful chatting with you. So when it comes to self-love, do you have any advice for our audience?
Self-love, I guess everyone has to take time out for themselves, be it whether you're a busy career woman, a mother, a grandmother. It's important to take time out for yourself. It could be just a walk, a quiet walk, eating your favorite cake or whatever food that you love, listening to your favorite songs, doing household chores and listening to your favorite song. Exercise is very important. Hopefully everyone will be able to find some way of exercise that's a good way of loving yourself, or any hobby, sewing, crocheting, any hobby that you love. All these are ways you can do self-love.
Thank you for sharing. So, Grace, would you like to share with our audience how they can contribute to the Breast Cancer Foundation?
Oh, yes. You can support us in the support of Breast Cancer Foundation by donating to Giving SG, campaigns at She Networks BCF. That would help a lot of us in this journey.
Thank you, Grace. Okay, so now we're going to end our show with the Wonder Woman pose. Well done, Grace. That's awesome. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have been inspired by Grace and her journey. And remember, donate giving.sg/ campaign/She Network BCF. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Be safe, be strong, and let's be together. Okay, take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.